In 1917, 3 shepherd children in Fatima, Portugal, claimed to witness a series of prophetic visions from the Virgin Mary. These apparitions became known as the 3 secrets of Fatima, each containing messages that were said to reveal insights about humanity's future. While the first 2 secrets spoke of the world wars and the spread of communism, the third, long kept under wraps, holds a particularly chilling relevance today. As we examine what the third prophecy may imply for America, we uncover dire warnings that resonate with today's most pressing issues. In this video, we'll explore the deeper meanings of this prophecy and what it could mean for America's future, touching on themes of spiritual crisis, political upheaval, and the potential for global conflict. In 1917, a quiet corner of Portugal became the center of one of the most profound and mysterious events in the Catholic faith. In the small village of Fatima, 3 shepherd children, Lucia Santos and her cousins, Francisco and Jacinta Marto, were said to experience a series of visions that would capture the attention of the world. According to their account, the Virgin Mary appeared to them on 6 occasions between May and October of that year, delivering a message that would resonate for generations. These messages, known as the 3 secrets of Fatima, were told to contain divine warnings about the future of humanity. Each secret unveiled a new layer of insight, from the fate of souls after death to prophetic visions of war, peace, and cataclysm. It was the third secret, however, that would remain concealed for much of the 20th century, sparking countless theories, debates, and speculation. Many believe it holds a deeply disturbing warning about the world's future, and some say it speaks directly to modern-day America. The first 2 secrets, revealed soon after the children's visions, were themselves powerful and shocking. The first secret included a vision of hell, a place of suffering where souls were shown burning in an unending sea of fire, tormented by demons. It was a vivid depiction meant to warn humanity about the consequences of sin and the need for repentance. The second secret, perhaps even more striking for its political undertones, prophesied the outbreak of World War II and warned of the dangers of communism spreading across the globe. The Virgin Mary reportedly urged the world to pray for Russia's conversion, as failure to do so would result in devastating wars, famines, and the persecution of believers. These first 2 secrets were eventually made public, revealing a prophetic element that seemed eerily accurate given the historical events that followed. Yet, the third secret remained hidden, a mystery sealed away by the Vatican, with only a select few having access to its contents. The Church's decision to keep this secret confidential for so long only fueled rumors and speculation about its contents. Many believed that if the previous secrets dealt with issues as grave as hell and global conflict, the third must surely contain something even more dire. Over the years, reports surfaced that popes and select cardinals, after reading the third secret, were so disturbed that they refused to make it public. Some claimed that Pope John XXIII reportedly fainted after reading the contents, while Pope Paul VI allegedly broke into tears. Pope John Paul II, who finally decided to release part of the secret in 2000, was cryptic in his statements, implying that the secret held an apocalyptic message that humanity might not be ready to understand fully. When a portion of the third secret was finally made public, it revealed a haunting vision. A bishop dressed in white, believed to symbolize the Pope, climbing a hill toward a cross amidst a city in ruins. Along the way, he sees bodies of martyrs, bishops, priests, and laypeople who were killed in horrific ways. The prophecy culminates in the Pope himself being struck down by gunfire and arrows, suggesting a brutal persecution of the church. For many believers, this vision held a profound warning about a future filled with violence, loss of faith, and suffering. Yet, the Vatican's release of this vision did little to quell speculation. Some believe that the Church withheld parts of the prophecy, including direct references to specific nations such as America, or events that might foretell an even more catastrophic future. It is this unreleased element that has kept the third prophecy shrouded in mystery and controversy. Many theologians and prophecy enthusiasts argue that the full prophecy contains an urgent warning for America, one that speaks to the nation's political, moral, and spiritual crises in a way that feels increasingly relevant. The third prophecy's cryptic symbols and language have left room for countless interpretations, each attempting to decode its meaning for modern times. The imagery described in the prophecy is both vivid and ambiguous. A city reduced to ruins, symbolizing a collapse of civilization. The Pope under attack, representing the persecution of faith, and the bodies of martyrs strewn along the path, suggesting widespread suffering and loss. Some interpret the bishop in white as a symbol of religious leaders and institutions under threat, with the destruction around him representing a world falling into chaos and despair. Many feel these images speak directly to the challenges facing America today, from internal division to the erosion of religious and moral values. Could the prophecy be foretelling an era in which faith is violently tested and society itself seems to crumble? Among the symbolic images, one recurring theme stands out: a warning about the consequences of abandoning faith and moral principles. The ruined city could be a metaphor for a society that has strayed too far from its spiritual foundations. For America, a nation once founded on principles of liberty and faith, the implications are profound. Could it be that the prophecy is warning of a future where America faces a similar collapse due to a loss of unity and guiding principles? The attacks on the Pope and the faithful might suggest a time when those who hold on to faith are persecuted, either socially or even violently. In a country where political and social divisions seem to deepen daily, the prophecy's warning of destruction and martyrdom feels unsettlingly prescient. For some, the vision is a call to return to core values before it is too late, while others see it as a bleak prophecy of inevitable decline if nothing changes. Adding to the urgency, the vision includes an apocalyptic tone that resonates with modern fears of war, natural disasters, and social decay. The prophecy's reference to angels with flaming swords could symbolize forces of divine justice, wielded in response to humanity's failure to live up to its highest ideals. Some believers interpret this as a warning that America could face divine judgment if it continues down a path of materialism, corruption, and disregard for life. The flaming swords may represent natural or man-made disasters that bring about great suffering, seen as consequences of humanity's collective actions. Others, however, interpret the prophecy more symbolically, seeing it as a reminder of the destructive power of human pride and the importance of humility and repentance. A less discussed but significant detail is the presence of Mary herself, the figure delivering these messages. For many, her role is that of a motherly guide, urging humanity to change its ways and seek redemption. Her repeated emphasis on prayer, conversion, and repentance throughout the three secrets suggests a path to salvation, one that requires a return to faith and moral integrity. For America, this could mean a call to unity, healing, and a renewed commitment to principles of compassion and justice. It could also mean that the time to act is running short, with the prophecy serving as a final warning before the doors to redemption close. The cryptic elements of the third prophecy invite reflection on the future of both America and the world at large. While interpretations vary, the underlying message seems clear. Humanity is at a crossroads, with choices that can lead either to renewal or to ruin. For those who believe in the prophetic power of the third secret of Fatima, the vision serves as a powerful reminder that the future is not set in stone, and that redemption is possible if we are willing to heed its warnings. In considering the potential significance of the third prophecy of Fatima for America, a particularly haunting implication centers on the state of America's spiritual foundation. As the prophecy's warnings seem to speak directly to the consequences of turning away from faith, many see in it a reflection of the growing spiritual crisis in the United States. Historically, America was founded on principles deeply rooted in belief in a higher power, a commitment to morality, and a vision of unity under God. Over time, these guiding principles gave way to rapid changes in culture, belief systems, and values. The societal shift away from these foundational beliefs has created a moral landscape that appears increasingly divided, secular, and in some ways adrift. Today, it is no secret that America faces a profound crisis of meaning, one marked by a rising distrust in religious institutions, the decline of traditional moral values, and an increase in both personal and societal conflicts. At the heart of this spiritual crisis is a shift from collective spirituality toward individualism and secularism. Where communities once found unity in shared beliefs and moral principles, the modern cultural landscape prizes personal freedom, individual beliefs, and self-definition above all. On the surface, these values align with America's ideals of liberty and independence, but many argue that this shift has resulted in a society disconnected from deeper spiritual foundations. Religious practices are increasingly viewed as personal choices rather than communal commitments, and fewer Americans are attending church or participating in faith-based communities. This decline in religious adherence has brought about what some consider a vacuum of values, one that is filled instead by the pursuit of materialism, personal success, and secular ideologies. In the absence of a shared spiritual framework, America's sense of identity has become more fragmented, with individuals feeling less connected to a larger moral purpose. The third prophecy of Fatima, with its focus on spiritual decay and divine warning, speaks directly to this sense of disconnection. The prophecy emphasizes a world in danger of losing its way, suffering from the consequences of abandoning faith and moral duty. In America's case, the prophecy may be interpreted as a warning against a life driven solely by materialism, comfort, and self-interest. A society without a collective moral compass is one vulnerable to division and strife, as people seek purpose and identity in increasingly polarized ways. The growing gap between the secular and the spiritual has created a culture where traditional morals are questioned, where families and communities find less common ground, and where people are more isolated and divided than ever before. For those who view the prophecy as relevant to America, the message is clear. Without a return to core spiritual values, the nation could face a future defined by confusion, hostility, and moral decline. Compounding this issue is the rise of ideological and cultural conflicts that many see as an extension of this spiritual void. Social and political movements often clash violently over fundamental questions of identity, freedom, and morality. These conflicts reflect a deeper struggle for America's soul, a battle between traditional values and modern secular philosophies. With this division comes a sense of national unease, where faith is no longer a unifying force, but rather a point of contention. The decline of spirituality in America has also coincided with a rise in mental health issues, addiction, and a pervasive sense of loneliness and dissatisfaction. For many, this crisis represents the consequences of a life without a greater purpose, and the prophecy's warnings seem to echo this sentiment. If America continues to neglect its spiritual foundations, the result could be widespread suffering, both physical and psychological. Beyond the individual level, the spiritual crisis has implications for America's standing on the global stage. The prophecy suggests that a loss of faith leads to a weakening of a nation's power and influence. Historically, America's strength has often been tied to its moral authority, a belief that it stood as a city upon a hill, an example of freedom, justice, and faith to the world. As America shifts away from these ideals, some worry that it risks losing this influence and respect. Without a strong moral foundation, America may find itself vulnerable to forces of division and decay internally and externally. The prophecy implies that spiritual decay makes a society susceptible to destruction, whether through conflict, economic hardship, or even natural disasters. For believers, the message is that America must find a way to restore its spiritual health, if it is to avoid the fate foreseen in the prophecy. The third prophecy of Fatima does not merely warn of spiritual crisis, but also hints at political and social upheaval on a grand scale. In America, recent years have been marked by a level of social and political unrest that some see as a troubling sign of things to come. Deeply entrenched political divides, coupled with increasingly volatile protests, demonstrations, and even violent clashes, suggest a nation struggling with identity, purpose, and unity. The prophecy's grim vision of destruction and chaos seems to resonate with this landscape, where long-standing institutions and beliefs are increasingly questioned, and societal stability feels uncertain. Many see these turbulent times as potential fulfillments of the prophecy's warnings, particularly the images of a world in ruins, where faith is under attack and moral integrity is lost. One of the most striking aspects of recent American turmoil is the extent to which divisions run through every level of society. Political polarization has reached unprecedented levels, with Americans more divided over issues of race, gender, religion, and economics than at any time in recent memory. Media and social platforms often intensify these divides, creating echo chambers that reinforce conflicting viewpoints and fuel hostility. What was once a melting pot has, in some ways, become a cauldron of discord, where people find it difficult to engage with opposing perspectives. This polarization aligns eerily with the prophecy's message of division and destruction, as it suggests a world where unity is lost and society is consumed by internal conflict. For those who believe in the prophecy, these divides may be a harbinger of an even darker future, one in which America could face profound internal breakdown. The prophecy's warning about persecution of the faithful also resonates with America's current social climate. Although America remains a predominantly Christian nation, open expression of religious beliefs has, in some instances, become a point of contention, leading to instances of social ostracization or ridicule. People of faith may feel that their values are under attack, as secular ideals increasingly dominate public discourse and cultural norms. For some, this shift represents a threat to the freedoms and beliefs that America was founded upon. The prophecy's imagery of martyrs and persecuted believers may be a symbolic warning about a future in which faith and tradition are openly challenged, and where believers are forced to defend their values in the face of overwhelming opposition. This societal clash may not necessarily involve physical violence, but the psychological and social toll could be significant, as people find themselves alienated or marginalized for their beliefs. The prophecy's reference to a world in ruins could also be interpreted as a warning about the breakdown of societal structures and institutions. America's justice system, educational system, and even its democratic processes are frequently the subjects of criticism and scrutiny, often accused of failing the people they were designed to serve. Many feel that these institutions no longer represent their best interests, leading to growing disillusionment and distrust. This erosion of trust in key societal pillars could lead to a breakdown in the rule of law, making society more susceptible to chaos and instability. The prophecy's image of a desolate, ruined city may reflect a future where America's institutions, once strong and reliable, are weakened to the point of dysfunction. The message of the third prophecy also hints at the potential for conflict on a global scale, with America positioned as both a participant and a possible catalyst. As a superpower, America's actions and policies influence the world, and its internal strife may reverberate across borders. The prophecy's warnings of destruction could be seen as a call for caution, suggesting that America's struggles are not isolated, but part of a larger global picture. If America continues to experience internal conflict and division, it risks losing its role as a stabilizing force in international affairs. The prophecy's cautionary tone suggests that if America does not address its internal crises, it could find itself drawn into external conflicts, potentially leading to large-scale consequences. Together, these elements paint a sobering picture of what the third prophecy of Fatima might mean for America. For those who believe in its relevance, the prophecy is not merely a prediction, but a dire warning that must be heeded if America is to avoid a future marked by division, decay, and potential destruction. Whether viewed as a literal prophecy or a symbolic message, the themes of spiritual crisis, social upheaval, and institutional breakdown are undoubtedly resonant with today's America. As the prophecy warns, without a return to faith, unity, and moral strength, the future could hold great challenges. Many feel that the path to redemption lies in addressing these deep-seated issues and finding a way to restore America's core values before it is too late. The third prophecy of Fatima does not leave us solely with images of darkness and ruin. Embedded within its dire warnings is a profound message of hope, a call for redemption that offers a path forward for those willing to listen. For many, this prophecy serves as both a warning and an invitation, urging nations, particularly America, to change their course before it is too late. The message implies that catastrophe is not inevitable, but can be avoided through a return to faith, compassion, and unity. As Americans look at the issues facing their country, from spiritual decay to societal strife, the prophecy's call for repentance, prayer, and a renewal of values may hold the key to a brighter future. The first step toward heeding the prophecy's warning is to recognize the need for a spiritual renewal. This does not necessarily mean a return to religious dogma, but rather a re-emphasis on core values and principles that promote a sense of connection, compassion, and humility. America has long prided itself on ideals of freedom, justice, and faith, values that have historically united its people and inspired them to strive for a common good. In recent decades, however, these values have become overshadowed by materialism, competition, and an emphasis on individualism at the expense of community. The prophecy suggests that only by rekindling this sense of shared purpose can America hope to overcome the internal divisions that threaten to tear it apart. For individuals, this spiritual renewal can begin with small, personal acts of kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. The prophecy speaks to the power of faith and prayer as a means of transforming society, reminding people that positive change often starts with individual efforts. By embracing humility and self-reflection, Americans can begin to counter the culture of division and judgment that has become so prevalent. Returning to a mindset that values service to others, gratitude, and a sense of responsibility toward one another can have a ripple effect, inspiring communities to come together in ways that transcend political or ideological differences. When people are motivated by compassion and empathy rather than fear or resentment, they become forces of unity, creating a stronger, more resilient society. On a broader level, the prophecy calls for a national commitment to rediscovering moral and ethical integrity. For America, this means a re-examination of the values that underpin its institutions and its role on the world stage. It requires leaders who are guided not merely by political agendas, but by a sense of responsibility to serve the common good. The prophecy warns of the consequences of power used for personal gain or ideological dominance, suggesting that only those who act with humility and integrity can guide the country toward redemption. For America to heed this message, its leaders must set an example of honesty, respect, and selflessness. They must encourage dialogue rather than division, foster understanding rather than animosity, and prioritize the welfare of all citizens, not just those who support their own agendas. This call to unity and reconciliation extends beyond just political leaders. It is a challenge to all Americans. The prophecy suggests that a society divided cannot stand, that the strength of a nation lies in its ability to work together despite differences. In a time when polarization seems to touch every aspect of life, this message is more important than ever. Americans of all backgrounds must find ways to bridge the divides that separate them, whether they are ideological, racial, or economic. Engaging in open conversations, listening to one another's experiences, and finding common ground are essential steps in building a culture of respect and understanding. By focusing on shared values such as family, community, and a desire for a better future, Americans can overcome the forces of division and foster a spirit of unity. Another central aspect of the prophecy's call to redemption is the need for humility in the face of challenges. The vision warns against the dangers of pride, arrogance, and the belief in self-sufficiency that can lead individuals and nations astray. For America, a country that has achieved great power and influence, this reminder is especially significant. The prophecy suggests that true strength lies not in wealth, status, or military might, but in the ability to recognize one's own limitations and the importance of seeking divine guidance. By embracing humility, America can rediscover a sense of purpose that transcends the material and the temporal, inspiring its people to work toward goals that benefit all of humanity. This humility requires a willingness to admit mistakes, learn from them, and strive to be better, both as individuals and as a nation. A significant theme within the prophecy is the transformative power of prayer and repentance. For believers, this means not only personal repentance, but also a communal return to faith and moral values. Throughout history, prayer has served as a powerful tool for healing, unity, and strength in times of crisis. The prophecy encourages Americans to turn to prayer as a means of seeking wisdom, guidance, and protection. By reintroducing prayer into daily life, whether in private moments, families, or community gatherings, Americans can cultivate a spiritual resilience that helps them navigate the challenges ahead. This practice need not be limited to any one religion or belief system. Rather, it is a call for reflection, gratitude, and a sense of connection to something greater than oneself. Prayer can serve as a reminder that humanity's struggles are not faced alone, but with the support and guidance of a higher power. Repentance, as described in the prophecy, is also crucial. This concept goes beyond individual atonement to encompass collective accountability. America, as a society, must confront the ways it may have strayed from its values. Whether through neglect of the environment, injustices within its borders, or failures to promote peace and understanding on the global stage. Repentance is not about dwelling on guilt, but about acknowledging past mistakes and making a commitment to act differently in the future. By doing so, America can begin to heal the wounds of the past, reconcile divisions, and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. This collective repentance can be a powerful act of transformation, uniting people in a shared desire for positive change. In addition to prayer and repentance, the prophecy calls for a return to compassion and charity as foundational values. Compassion is more than a sentiment. It is a guiding principle that can shape policies, influence community interactions, and inspire individuals to act selflessly. America has a long tradition of charitable work and community support, yet in recent years, a focus on individual success and competition has sometimes overshadowed this spirit of generosity. The prophecy reminds Americans of the importance of caring for the vulnerable, the marginalized, and the suffering. By embracing compassion, society can address the needs of those who are struggling, fostering a culture of support that strengthens communities from within. Acts of charity and kindness, whether on a large scale or a small personal level, can create a sense of shared humanity that transcends differences. The prophecy also points to the need for Americans to rekindle a sense of responsibility toward future generations. As the world faces environmental challenges, social instability, and economic uncertainty, the choices made today will have profound effects on tomorrow. The prophecy's call for redemption serves as a reminder that the current generation has a duty to leave the world better than they found it. This includes promoting sustainable practices, fostering education, and creating opportunities for growth and innovation. By taking these steps, Americans can ensure that the legacy they leave behind is one of hope, resilience, and prosperity. This commitment to future generations is a way of honoring the prophecy's call to redemption, showing that America values the well-being of all its citizens, present and future. Ultimately, the prophecy suggests that redemption is not a distant, unattainable goal, but something achievable through dedication to faith, unity, and compassion. For America, this means making a conscious choice to live in accordance with its highest ideals, fostering a society where people work together for the common good. It requires courage, sacrifice, and a willingness to put aside personal interests for the sake of something greater. By heeding the prophecy's call, America has the opportunity to become a beacon of hope and renewal, demonstrating to the world the power of a nation that is guided by faith, integrity, and a commitment to justice. The path to redemption is neither easy nor guaranteed, but the prophecy assures that transformation is possible if individuals and nations are willing to make the effort. America's future is not predetermined. It is shaped by the choices made today. The prophecy serves as a reminder that the time to act is now, urging Americans to come together, to rebuild, and to rediscover their shared humanity. Through faith, compassion, and humility, America can find a way forward, inspiring generations to come and proving that even in the face of darkness, there is always the possibility of light.